What's up, people? Joe Winko here, your favorite Hawaiian guy, and here's my next episode of Joe Winko Talk. So, I said that I was planning on doing another episode of Joe Winko Talk about this because I felt like it's an important thing that people should remember and pay attention to and keep in mind. It's kind of negative though, but I still thought it was important to talk about nonetheless. If any of you guys are following me on Twitter, you would already know that I've been keeping track with this a lot and been tweeting about this a lot. This episode of Joe Winko Talk is going to be about the coronavirus, a virus that started in China and that spread to a lot of countries so far all over the world. If you want to see the first video I did about the coronavirus, the link to it will be in the pinned comments. This is just going to be an update on some of the stuff that has been going on surrounding the coronavirus. First things first, the coronavirus actually has a specific name now. They're calling it COVID-19. So it's not just the coronavirus anymore. They're calling it COVID-19. And there's this one girl who I watch on YouTube. Her name is Luna. Shout out to Luna. I was watching one of her YouTube videos and I left a comment on her YouTube videos and I asked her if she could do a video about the coronavirus, and she did end up doing one. And I'll have the link to her video in the pinned comments of this video. But basically, what she said in the video was for people not to worry about the coronavirus at all and not to freak out over it, which is absolutely true because freaking out over it isn't going to do any good. And she said that you should only worry if you have traveled to China lately or if you've been in contact with anyone who has traveled to China. And that's actually true also. The reason why I'm more freaked out about the coronavirus, however, is because it can spread asymptomatically. I heard that one woman came from China to Germany and she managed to infect 7 people with the coronavirus while she didn't even have any symptoms at all, and I thought that was terrifying. And I also heard that there was another woman who went to South Korea and infected a whole bunch of people at a church with the coronavirus while she was asymptomatic. Another thing I should point out is that they're saying that most of the cases of coronavirus are very mild, but the thing is, people who are most susceptible to developing serious symptoms and serious problems from the coronavirus are people who are elderly or people with underlying health conditions. And if you guys should know about this by now, but I actually have type 1 diabetes, so that's the reason why I've been worried about the coronavirus and everything, because that definitely counts as an underlying health condition. But it seems like the USA is doing a pretty good job at keeping the people infected with the coronavirus quarantined. But I do have some good news. The couple that tested positive for the coronavirus in Chicago, Illinois, they're all clear from the coronavirus now. They were able to recover from it, and I'm very happy about that, and I'm very glad that they were able to recover from it. But there also has been more confirmed cases of the coronavirus, including one confirmed case in Wisconsin, which kind of freaked me out when I found out about that because I used to live in Wisconsin, and remembering how the healthcare system was in Wisconsin, I mean, the technology was good and everything, but the people running the healthcare and everything, the healthcare professionals in the state of Wisconsin, they were really stupid. Trust me, no one knows that better than I do. But the thing is, hopefully they have some smarter healthcare professionals handling that, because the confirmed case of the coronavirus in Wisconsin was in Madison, Wisconsin, and that's not where I'm from. Was closer to the Milwaukee area. much closer to the Milwaukee area. And that's where the stupid healthcare professionals in the state of Wisconsin were, as far as I know. So let's just hope that Madison does a good job containing the coronavirus. There's been no news of anyone else being infected with the coronavirus in the state of Wisconsin. However, I do remember reading a source online that said, don't worry about the coronavirus in the state of Wisconsin. But then, in the same paragraph, they also said that there might be more cases of the coronavirus popping up in the state of Wisconsin too. And I literally thought that was the most stupidest thing ever, but I absolutely expect that from the state of Wisconsin. I'm glad I'm out of there. I'm just really glad that there's no confirmed cases in Florida, though, so that's a good thing. And I'm honestly kind of surprised about that, because a lot of people go back and forth from Florida to everywhere. But luckily, there have been no confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Florida, so that's a good thing, as far as I know. There's also been a confirmed case of coronavirus in the state of Massachusetts, and also in Texas, which is not good. When I found out about the confirmed case of coronavirus in the state of Texas, I was really upset because I actually love Texas and I was really worried about it. And I was also worried about the confirmed case of coronavirus in Massachusetts. Even though it's a state that I never really thought that much of, I was still kind of freaked out about it because I do know some people up in Massachusetts and I was worried for their safety and everything, but they're doing fine and I hope it continues to go that way. And in addition to that, there's also confirmed cases of the coronavirus in Nebraska too. The reason for that is there was a cruise ship that's docked in Japan that was being quarantined after one of the passengers tested positive for the coronavirus. And what ended up happening is 634 people on that cruise ship ended up contracting the coronavirus, and 2 of them end up dying. Both of them were Japanese citizens. And how they quarantined them was they kept them all on the cruise ship while it was docked out in the sea, out on the shores of Japan. And I honestly think that was a horrible idea to keep them all on the cruise ship, because the cruise ships are like, the cruise ship is huge, but it's pretty confined. And if someone's sick on there, it can spread, especially if you're keeping them in there for 14 days. So that was a really bad idea, keeping them all confined. They should have got them out and sent them to some base or something. However, the USA did come in and evacuate the citizens of the USA on that cruise ship, but they did it a tad bit too late. They should have done that right away. And now they're all being held at a quarantine facility in Nebraska. Quite a few of them are infected. I don't really remember the exact numbers, but I did screenshot it when I saw it on the coronavirus tracker map that I've been following. However, for some strange reason, that one spot in Nebraska where all the people are being held at in the quarantine facility, for some reason it's not on the map anymore, but I did screenshot it and I will show it in this video that shows the number of the people who were infected with the coronavirus who returned to the USA who are now being held in Nebraska. But as I said earlier, it was a very, very bad idea to quarantine them all on the ship. I mean, they should have at least thought of something. I mean, I wouldn't expect that from Japan, because people in Japan, the whole country of Japan, that's a really, I don't know how to explain this, but Japan is a really high-tech, really sophisticated and smart country, in lack of better terms. They should have been more prepared for something like this, honestly. I mean, you see how the USA was quarantining people and sending them to quarantine centers and everything, but you would think that Japan would be more prepared for something like this, and it's really disappointing that they actually weren't. And I worry for the safety of the civilians in Japan, because I heard that the people, after the 2 weeks passed, they were just allowed to get off the ship and just go anywhere. But they were on that ship for a really long time. I mean, they could have contracted the coronavirus, I mean, even on the last day before they were supposed to leave the ship. And you might not know that they're infected. So I'm very worried about that. But I'm glad the USA managed to evacuate all the Americans on that ship, at least, and was able to send them back to the USA and put them in a quarantine center for 2 weeks. I just hope that goes well, and I just hope that it doesn't get out of hand, because that is a scary situation for everyone involved. So let's get to the current stats on the coronavirus. So far, there are 76,798 confirmed cases of people infected with the coronavirus as of February 21st, 2020, 5:30 p.m. And there's 2,250 deaths. The scary thing is, not all of them are in China anymore either. An overwhelming majority of them are in China, but there was one death in France, which was actually a Chinese tourist, 2 deaths in Japan, which were the people aboard the Diamond Princess cruise ship, which was being used as a quarantine center, completely inappropriately used as a quarantine center, but they were Japanese citizens, so I'm assuming they're Japanese. And there were 2 deaths in South Korea and 4 deaths in Iran. Earlier it said that there were 2 deaths, but apparently the death count went up in Iran, and there's more people infected with the coronavirus in Iran. It's starting to kill more people outside of China, because there was also another death from the coronavirus in Taiwan, and there was another death in the Philippines. But the person who died in the Philippines actually was from Wuhan, China, but they just were living in the Philippines because they moved there. Which actually brings me to my next point. This is something that I thought of earlier. It might be a tad bit insulting to some people, but this was just something that my autism mind thought of, and it might sound really weird, but this is what I was thinking. I'm wondering if people of Asian ethnicity are more susceptible to the serious consequences of coronavirus. Because, as you all know, there's a difference between races, like a black person, an Asian person, and a white person, and a Latino person, or a Middle Eastern person, or anyone else. But the differences aren't just on the outside based on appearance. I mean, there's also differences on the inside too. Because I remember a long time ago, I was reading this one post online about this one skeleton of this person who was found a really long time ago, and they were able to tell that it was an African American female, even though it was just a skeleton. And I remember typing in, how are they able to tell that it was an African American female? And someone said that how they're able to tell is because African Americans have a slightly different bone structure than people who aren't African or African American. And I thought that was pretty interesting. So because of that, I figured if people of different races have different bone structures, then they must have different biological chemistries, in lack of better terms of explaining that. However, I haven't heard of anyone who's in serious condition due to the coronavirus who was any other ethnicity besides Asian. Because I actually saw that one of the passengers on the Diamond Princess cruise ship, she was infected with the coronavirus, and they took her off and they put her under isolation in a hospital. And she was a white woman, and she was even talking on camera, and she seemed perfectly fine. And she even said that she was feeling perfectly fine and that it feels just like a really slight cold, and she barely even noticed it all. But she was white though. and she definitely didn't seem to be in bad condition, but she was still infected with the virus. So I'm starting to wonder, is it, if you're of Asian ethnicity, you're more likely to die from this virus due to your biological makeup? And I don't really want people to think about that too much, because I don't want people to get too careless. Like, someone thinks, oh, I'm not Asian, I'm not going to die of the coronavirus, I'm not worried about catching it. But I think that's something that people should, well, the doctors should look into and try to figure out whether that fact is true or not. I did find one article that stated that a U.S. citizen has died of the coronavirus in the country of China. However, U.S. citizen doesn't just mean a person's black or white. I mean, a U.S. citizen could definitely be of Asian ethnicity, but they didn't release the identity of that person at all. And another weird thing I thought of, again, because of my autism mind, and this might not make sense to most people, but I'm going to try my best to explain it anyway, is one idea on how to treat the coronavirus. So, when someone catches a virus, whether it's the cold virus or any other virus like that, your immune system reacts to that and responds to that, and your body starts building up antibodies to fight off the virus. It's a natural response from your immune system. Antibodies that run through your body and run through your blood, which fight off the virus. Another thing that people don't really seem to be paying much attention to are the recoveries from the coronavirus. So far, there are 18,870 people who have recovered from the coronavirus and no longer have it anymore. And this is one weird idea that my autism mind came up with. I'm assuming that all those people who recovered from the coronavirus, their body was able to build up antibodies that fight off against the coronavirus. And I was thinking, the people who are like in serious condition from the coronavirus, or who are like seriously suffering from the coronavirus, wouldn't it be possible to just extract the antibodies from patients who already recovered from the coronavirus and somehow inject those into the other people who are sick with the coronavirus so their body can produce the antibodies to fight off the coronavirus? Luckily, someone actually already have thought of that, and this was an idea I had for a long time, and I just think it's kind of weird that they didn't think of it till recently. But I found one article online, and I'll have the link to it in the pinned comments, that did mention that they're trying to extract antibodies from recovered coronavirus patients and use them in people who are sick with the coronavirus and who don't really seem to be doing so well with fighting the virus off. However, I skimmed through the article and it didn't really seem like they mentioned many results from that, but there might be one out there that does have the results. I have to do more research on it because I actually do remember seeing one article that did talk about the results from that and everything. But I do have to do more research on that, and if I find that article, I'm also going to paste the link to it in the pinned comments as well. And another thing that I heard online is that in the country of Thailand, they tried treating a person with coronavirus by injecting them with HIV medication combined with flu medication, and the virus was cleared from their body because of that. And I actually have footage of that, a video of where I heard that from, right here. And I'm going to play it for you guys right now. Okay. 3, 2, 1, now.
This patient's health took an unexpected turn for the better. The 70-year-old Chinese woman came down with the coronavirus, which has already claimed hundreds of lives. But the virus vanished from her body after doctors in Thailand administered an unusual cure. This is the standard treatment that we've used with patients. It's a mixture of anti-HIV drugs and a flu drug which China used to cure MERS patients. The mixture of both treatments shows vast improvement 48 hours after applying the treatment, and the result turns negative.
Okay, so as you see there, they combined HIV medication with flu medication, and they were able to cure the girl of the coronavirus. And I thought that that was an awesome discovery, and I'm not sure why they aren't doing that more often. I believe in the USA they have to double check to make sure that's safe and everything. But it worked for her though, and I haven't heard of her having any bad side effects or any side effects from that for that matter, because I figured that would have been in the media if she had. And I also have some bad news too. So they said that it might actually take 18 months for them to develop a vaccine for COVID-19. And I wasn't happy when I heard of that because that's a really long time. I remember the swine flu outbreak back in 2009. The thing was, I was living with my uncle in the Dominican Republic during that time, and I barely ever went out anywhere. Basically almost the exact same kind of life I have now, except I'm in Florida, and I do go out much more often than I did when I was living in the Dominican Republic. But still don't go out that often as it is, really, but more often than I was when I was living in the Dominican Republic. But I remember the swine flu outbreak happened. It happened in February. That's when it started. But it didn't really start making headlines until April of 2009. So February 2009 is when it kind of began. But it didn't start making like news headlines all over until April 2009. And the vaccine was available by either October or November of 2009. So that's roughly, well, from April to November, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, roughly 6 or 7 months, depending on exactly when it was. So even though they say that it might take 18 months to develop a vaccine, I'm pretty confident that they'll get one developed sooner than that. I hope it doesn't take 18 months, because this virus is killing off a lot of people. I hope they come up with a treatment for it or something. I hope they start using the HIV medication and flu medication more. But another thing is, when I heard about the HIV meds, now, I take a medication every day called PrEP. It's like a medication that prevents you from contracting HIV. A lot of gay guys take it, but I take that every day, really, and I'm starting to wonder if that would offer some protection for me against the coronavirus, but I'm not so sure about that. Hopefully it would, but luckily the coronavirus, it doesn't really seem to be spreading throughout the USA. Like, yeah, there's a lot of people who have it, but it's mostly, basically all of it is just people who came back from China or people who've been around people who were in China. And the USA is doing a pretty good job at quarantining it, at least. But I'm just worried that there might be a slip-up and everything. And there's also some more important questions that we still have about the coronavirus. How long can this virus live outside the body? Because there's many sources that give me different answers. Like, most of the sources say that it can live outside the body for a few hours, and a lot of people, including myself, were getting worried about packages coming from China, because almost everything is made in China nowadays and everything, and was worried about packages coming from China, like if it was handled by someone who might have the coronavirus or something like that. But they're telling people not to worry about that too much. However, they're still telling people that if you got packages from China, you should still wash your hands just in case. So, yeah, there's that. But I wouldn't really freak out about that too much, because if it was really able to spread through like mail and packages out of China, the virus would like literally be everywhere by now. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. And another thing is, sources told me that the virus isn't really spread from surface contamination, meaning it isn't really spread from like if you touch something that someone else touched or anything. I mean, I'm certain that it can be spread that way, but that's not the most common way of spreading it. They said that it's mostly spread through breath droplets, but I'm still curious to how long this virus can live outside the body, and I'm also curious to how it was able to spread through that ship, because a lot of the people were keeping in their rooms and everything. However, the ventilation might have still spread it, and if the ventilation was able to spread that virus, then that's not good if it was able to spread that easily. However, there is a possibility that a lot of the people on the ship were already infected with the coronavirus, and they all didn't just get it from the one person on the ship. That's one thing I didn't really read that much information on, but how are they going to know exactly how that virus spread throughout that whole ship and everything? It's still scary to think about. But getting back to surface contamination, I recommend everyone just keep washing their hands and keep using hand sanitizer or something. Another thing I know about germs, like this is what I know about the common cold, it can't really live outside the body for that long. It can live outside the body, but only for like a few hours. And it lives longer on hard surfaces compared to soft surfaces like clothing or fabric or something like that. But something like plastic or something like that, it can live longer on plastic. But if you're talking about a surface like fabric or clothing or anything like that, it usually doesn't last very long on that. So I just felt like sharing that, really. I'm not so sure about the coronavirus, but I felt like it was an important thing to mention. And the last thing I'm going to be discussing is the Dr. Li Wenliang. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing his name right, but forgive me if I'm pronouncing it wrong. He was a doctor who lived in China, and he was the first one who discovered that the coronavirus was existing and spreading throughout people. He actually tried warning everyone about the coronavirus, but the Chinese government basically tried to silence him and made him sign an agreement not to talk about the coronavirus at all. Yet he was still trying to warn everyone because he knew this virus was out there. And if the Chinese government wouldn't have tried to silence him, I think that things would have been different, because more people would have been aware of it, and they would have been able to get a better handle on this sooner. And the tragic thing is, he passed away in early February of this year, earlier this month. And I don't really know much about him, but I was looking at the pictures of him online, and I saw the picture of him laying in the hospital bed, this picture right here. And in all honesty, I thought that picture was really heartbreaking, and it hit home at a personal level, because the first thing I thought of was he looked exactly like my biological uncle the last time I ever saw him alive. My biological uncle, Romario, he passed away from brain cancer in year 2012. He went into a coma first, but when I saw the doctor laying in that hospital bed, he looks almost identical to my biological uncle, but my biological uncle wasn't Asian though, but he still had the black hair and the fair colored skin. The only difference is the shape of the eyes and the color of the eyes. My uncle had dark blue eyes. So I felt really sorry for Dr. Li Wenliang, and I made this picture, this memorial picture in memory of him. I'm going to show it to you guys right now. Here it is. So I photoshopped that picture with the halo over his head and at the beach because my uncle always loved the beach and I always thought the beach was a peaceful place. And that symbol that you see, that's a Chinese symbol for strength because he was a fighter and he tried to save everyone and tried to let people know that this virus was out there, and he tried to warn everyone. And I just think it's really tragic that he passed away from it. I didn't share this picture right away. The reason why is because I didn't really want it to go like viral or anything, and I didn't want people to say, oh, this guy from the USA made this picture. I mean, I didn't post it on my fan page or on Twitter or anything, but I'm going to share it now because I wanted to wait a few days because that was made roughly a couple days after he passed away. And it's just really sad, really, because he wasn't even 10 years older than I am, and he died of the coronavirus when he was trying to save everyone from it. And I just thought that was really sad and really unfair, honestly. And I hope he's at peace now. And it is really sad that all of this is going on, and I really hope that they come up with a cure for it or something. I'm gonna try not to think about it too much because it's really depressing. That's why it took me so long to make this video, because it's not really a fun thing to talk about, really, with thousands of people dying and thousands of people getting sick. But I felt like it was an important thing to share with everyone so everyone knows what's going on. So that's basically it for this episode of Joe Winko Talk. If there's any comments you want to make on anything I mentioned in this video or on anything I talked about, just please let me know in the comments of this video and let's get a conversation started, because that's the whole point of all my YouTube videos, is to start a conversation with you guys. So that's basically it. Don't forget to like, don't forget to comment, don't forget to subscribe, and don't forget to like me on Facebook and follow me on Twitter, Instagram, and Tumblr. And just don't forget to stay safe out there and watch out for your health, and just make sure not to forget about this and know that it's out there, and just be careful. I will be tweeting some more stuff about the coronavirus. I'm not going to do like a whole bunch of videos. I might do another, maybe, but I'm going to try not to get too obsessed with this because it can get pretty negative. So that's basically it. Peace out, people.